Hello and welcome to the Writing Today podcast. My name is Matthew Dewey, and in this episode I'm going to be doing a book review of Roadside Picnic. Now, for those of you who've been listening to me for a while, you'll know that this is my first book review. I'm not sure how to format this type of podcast, but all the same it was one that I wanted to create. Since it is my first book review on the podcast, I would very much appreciate any feedback, so that way I can better improve this format in my next book review. With that said, let's begin. It's been a while since I read anything other than my students or my own writing. When returning to the hobby, not many books came to mind. Luckily, the one I chose was exactly what I needed. A grim atmosphere made harsh and interesting with the inclusion of sinister scientific anomalies. First, the rundown. Roadside Picnic is a Russian novel written by Arkady and Boris Strugatsky. It went on to be translated and sold around the world, which should tell you how much of a success it was commercially. However, that's not the topic of this review. Seeing as this is my first official book review, I wanted to make sure I wrote it in a way that best conveys my thoughts on the novel. First, Roadside Picnic takes place after an alien visitation on Earth. Although no aliens were seen, the places they visited have changed in strange ways and deemed uninhabitable. Everyone decided to call these 6 specific locations zones. The zones hold strange anomalies, strange objects with strange properties. In short, every science buffin's dream project, alien artifacts to mess around with. Only one problem: the zone is filled with many invisible forces which could incinerate or gooify a person almost instantly. Only the brave or stupid dare enter the zone, and few return with their lives, fewer still with any loot to sell. The story surrounds Redrick Red Shoeheart, one such explorer whose life soon surrounds the zone, its dangers and its mysteries. What I was most concerned about when I started reading was the translation quality. Many books I have read which have been translated from one language into English have been spoiled by poor translation. It only takes a funny word to spoil a good scene. Once more, I was in luck. Most likely due to its popularity, Roadside Picnic has been expertly translated and it made for a fantastic read. Now for the plot. Without giving too much away, the plot is investing, harsh and realistic. It's difficult to write realism while including disturbing anomalies and alien litter, but the brothers who wrote it did a fantastic job. It's a story of average people fueled by their ambitions, who suffer common problems just as much as uncommon ones. Even though nobody lives in the zone, people are still affected by its presence in many terrible ways. The atmosphere is suitably dark, made brighter only by the enduring spirits of every character. It was easy for me to become invested in Red as the story progressed, and by the end I could understand him and the decisions he made. The only negatives I have on the plot are its construction. While the plot is sound and I don't mind time jumps too much, I did mind one chapter which shifted the spotlight to another character who I had little interest in. The character was used to explain aspects of the story and its world in depth, provide a fresh perspective, and make the second time jump a little smoother. Which is understandable, but personally not something I was thrilled to read. I was more than happy to see the spotlight return to Red and stick with him until the end of the story. The ending was something I expected from science fiction, but as always, I still found myself pacing my home in silence, making sense of it. And of course the characters. While there aren't many characters who receive development or even earn much interest, I found each one was written well. Their personalities were unique and believable, something that added to the reality of the situations. Of course, the bulk of the story rested on Redrick. His personality and its makeup is one of the most important aspects of the story, a character which you constantly feel anxious to read. The decisions he makes are logical in some situations and emotional in others. The story as it went was full of unpredictabilities and you're left surprised with how he deals with them all. Throughout the story you're kept on your toes, you don't quite know what will happen next. a feeling that isn't lessened by Red's actions but rather maintained. Personally, I didn't find his character likable or unlikable, yet I could understand him, empathize with him, which made him much more investing. And my final thoughts on Roadside Picnic is that it's not a breakthrough in literature. It contained elements we are all familiar with. I could draw parallels with other science fiction novels with ease, which is not a bad thing. For me, it was a fantastic story. A short, simple read you can finish in a day or over the weekend. It's because of it being so short that I felt that I might have got more out of it had the story been taken further, or at least the bits in the middle expanded upon. Now, I'm not exactly sure how to end this review. I could give this book a rating out of 10, but I believe that's pretty worthless. Everyone has their own tastes in literature after all, and I particularly enjoy these kinds of stories where others don't, so I don't want to come off as biased. Instead, I will say this. If you enjoy strange stories about living in strange times, with strange people, and even stranger objects left behind by strange visitors from a strange corner of the universe, you will enjoy this book. If you have read this book yourself, I would love to hear your thoughts on what happened in the plot. Be sure to tag your comment with spoilers first. If you provide book reviews, I would like to hear your suggestions on what aspect of a book or its writing I should cover in a future review. With that, this episode has come to an end. You can read this full blog post on my website, thepennedsleuth.com. Of course, I will leave a direct link to the article in the description below. With that, I'll see you in the next episode of Writing Today. Thank you for listening, and as always, good day, good night, and happy writing.